Hey, what's up, guys? So in this video, I want to talk about facing your fears, all right, and doing scary things. So for those of you guys that don't know, my name is Jeffrey, and growing up, I've always, naturally risk adverse. I always, cared a little bit too much about what people thought about me. What my parents, my friends thought about me, my classmates, my peers. I was so afraid to post videos on social media growing up, or even use social media, because I was afraid of what other people thought. I thought I had a boring ass life, and I had nothing to show for it compared to these guys that you see online with their flashy lifestyles. I was scared to talk to a lot of girls. The ones I thought were cute, I never made a move. And I overall just struggled with this limited life because of fear. And these days I feel like I made a lot of progress with this issue. I post videos almost every day shirtless online because I'm ripped. I don't really give a fuck about what people think about me anymore, as much as I used to, at least. And it all came from, like, doing things that scared the shit out of me, to be honest. um, I truly believe that, if you want to become the best version of yourself, you need to destroy all your fears. You need to face all your fears, your insecurities, and these things that are at the, like, bugging you deep inside. A lot of people are not brave enough or honest enough with themselves to face these things. It's like fucking almost 9 p.m. here. It's been a long day and stuff like that. And like like I'm in the army. I grew up in Hawaii, for those of you guys that don't know. And like, it took a lot of balls for me, like a lot of courage, in my opinion, for me to leave my home, everything I knew, all the people I've known, everything really, and leave that comfortable life and come here in the middle of nowhere. It's like completely dark around me. I don't really have much friends here or anything like that. And I'm just, every day I'm just putting in work. It's my job, my business, my fitness, my training, trying to become mentally resilient, just to become the most badass version of myself. And like, it's hard, and it's scary. The first time I faced a big fear was in high school, though. I just want to tell, like, a quick story, because like like looking back at it, it scared the shit out of me. Like, I grew up playing basketball, but I really kind of, like, wasn't that good. I kind of sucked. I wasn't the most athletic, gifted, tallest guy on the team. I was basically legally blind without my glasses, which I always played basketball without glasses because I didn't like how they fell off my face every time I got hit or I got sweaty. So I basically, like, was super blind playing basketball, and overall my skills wasn't that good. So I got benched a lot. But I busted my ass. I busted my ass every day. Went to the park, worked on my shooting, my handles, all my basketball skills. I don't know. I try to run a lot, get in shape, do push-ups at home. Had no gym, but I did push-ups at home. I busted my ass, and ended up making my high school basketball team because of pure hustle. Had no skills, had no like real natural talent and stuff. Didn't know that much people on the team. Actually, I was kind of an outsider, but I still fucking made the team because I was basically willing to die to make that team. I dove for all the loose balls. I played defense like the guy owed me money, and like, I fucking busted my ass. But my senior year, though, I quit the basketball team because of, like, like, I felt like I wasn't getting the respect I deserved. I was still getting benched. I was still not getting no playing time. Coaches were not. I just felt like I wanted to do something else with my time. But it scared the shit out of me, though, when I did this, because I was so afraid of what other people think. My identity at that time was a basketball player, a baller. Like, that's what he does. Jeffrey plays basketball. He's on a basketball team. And if I quit, I was afraid that my coaches, the guys on the team would think I was a pussy, that I couldn't handle it, that I was salty for being benched. I was afraid of what my friends might think. People think I'm a quitter, and questioning my masculinity in a sense. But I think I read an article one day in English class about courage, and I was typing a paper about that specific character trait, and I was just thinking, like, man, what the, like, like, courage is like doing things you're afraid of, right? And if I'm afraid of other people's judgment of me quitting the basketball team, then it would be, more cowardly if I stayed because of fear, of that fear, instead of, quitting, you know. And like I walked home that after that school that day and thought, I had that feeling in my heart, like, when I look back this year, it was my senior year too, last year of high school. I was like, am I gonna regret quitting the basketball team or staying more? And then the answer was staying more, because like that wasn't who I wanted to be anymore. And I told the coach, that I went to practice, told him I was gonna quit. I got very emotional. I cried my balls off like a girl, and he was really shocked, surprised, and he was very supportive of my decision and this and that. He was very confused too, because it took him by surprise. But it was one of the hardest things I did up to that moment in my life, because like I finally faced a fear, for the first time, that really got me emotional, and it was super hard, quitting something that I worked so hard in. But after I quit, and I walked my ass home, because I had no, I didn't have a car or anything like that. I walked everywhere back then almost, and I walked home, and I felt this sense of freedom, sense of pride in myself, like it felt so freeing, like there was a weight off my shoulder when I faced that fear. And I feel like if you're in a position of your life right now where you're afraid of something, like, and you're afraid of, what if, whether it's people's thoughts of you, rejection from a cute girl, rejection from your boss if you ask for a raise, or hard talk with a friend, or whatever it is, the best thing you can do, in my opinion, is to face that fear head on, admit that, this shit is hard, this shit is scaring the fuck out of you. But, the person you want to be and the person you respect at the end of your life, like, what would he do? Ask yourself that question. Ask yourself what kind of person you want to be. What kind of life do you want to live, all right? When you look back a year from now, what do you want to say like you did? Or do you want to be in this position right now, or do you want to be in a different position, a better position, one that you deserve more, right? These are the thoughts that went through my head that time I quit the basketball team, and every other time that's, I faced a big fear in my life. The first time I asked out a girl, man, it was fucking embarrassing. It was in college, because like I said, in high school, I fucking, had no confidence. I didn't know how to talk to girls like that. But in college, I had this chick in my class that I was really, thought was cute. I really liked her, though. Obviously, she fucking friend zoned me, but I finally mustered up the balls to ask her out after like a month of talking to her. Definitely don't take that long if you guys are like in the similar situation. But back then, yeah, like I mustered up the balls to do that. And for me at the time, that was fucking scary. Like, that was very scary. I wasn't smooth or anything. I just like turned my head and told her, "Hey, I got a crush on you," like just randomly. I think it came so out of the blue. She was like, she didn't know how to react. Fucking cringe, awkward as fuck. But like at the moment, it was so scary. I remember the seconds before leading up to those words coming out of my mouth. I was like, my heart was beating like I had tachycardia or some shit, and like I felt like I was gonna die basically. I was like, holy fuck, man, why am I so like crazy adrenaline going on? Fight and flight response is going crazy. And yeah, man, I told her my feelings. Things got awkward for like the rest of the day, but then, she friend zoned me, and my dumbass at the time didn't even know about the friend zone. So I was like, all right, that's good. But, long story short, though, I faced the fear, and like even that day I walked home, feeling proud of myself, because a weight was off my shoulders, the weight of what if, the weight of, like just like you always like, you're unsure about something, right? But when you face the fear and you get the answer, even if it's the answer you don't want, it's an answer, and you have clarity, and you can move on to the next stage of your life, all right? The next thing that you need to work on to become the best version of yourself. The longer you wait because of fear, the longer you're going to postpone your fucking potential, your life, your dreams, all right? There's a version of you out there that is fearless, that doesn't give a fuck about anything that scares you right now. He has conquered it. That's why. All right, and he's in fucking amazing shape, makes a lot of money. He's got crazy good friends, you know, a loving fucking family, you know, everything you dream of, whatever your dreams are. Right, I just named like random things that people probably like, but whatever, you know, whatever your dream life is, like there's a version of you out there that's possible in living that life. All right, but he has done so only because he has faced every single one of his fears, insecurities, shortcomings, failures, you know, all these things that most people run away from and lie to themselves about. He has faced them like a man, and you know, conquered them. You know, it doesn't mean you need to win every time, but you need to show up scared and you fucking do it anyways. I'm losing my voice. I think I've been talking too much this week. I kind of got a cold, but like, but yeah, like, in order to change your life, especially as a young man, you know, don't waste too much time, you know, playing it safe. Don't waste so much time trying to make everybody happy. All right, you got crazy potential. You must unleash upon this world. All right, you know, do it for yourself. Do it for your family. Do it for your future kids and wife. You know, like. Like, as a man, you must be willing to attack fear head on, all right? Because at some point, you know, if you keep running from things, right, you're always going to be controlled by them. You're always going to be controlled by these things that you're running from. Maybe not right now in your life, but eventually it will come back around, and you're going to have to face that decision again. You're going to have to face that question again. And, you know, when it knocks on that door, you're going to have to decide if you are you going to, like, keep hiding in the closet, or are you going to open that fucking door and see who the fuck is out there, all right? And most people just aren't willing to face their fears. Most people aren't willing to do the hard things. Most people are not willing to stand out, you know. Like, when it comes to, like, getting in shape, for example, you know, like, a lot of people, you know, are completely out of shape, eat like shit, got crazy bad habits, drinking problem, smoking zins, sleeping like shit. And, like, they fucking lie to themselves saying that, you know, they're all right, you know, I'll get in shape one day, you know, it's not that bad, you know. Like, they make so many excuses, and they lie to themselves over and over long periods of time, and that it becomes their identity. All right, they see that shit as normal. You have to be careful about the thoughts you tell yourself. All right, pay attention to what you tolerate, because your standards determine your reality. All right, it's not your goals. Everybody wants to be in shape. Everybody wants to look fucking ripped, all right? But not everybody is, because not everybody's willing to fucking do the work. No, not everybody has a higher enough standard, all right? Their standards are fucking low. They're all right with being a fat fuck. They're all right with drinking, having a drinking problem, having a smoking problem, you know, having addiction, having vices, right? Like you have to admit it to yourself. I'm not perfect. You know, I got flaws. I got things I'm working on. You know, I'm always, like, trying to be honest with myself, though. I always try to catch myself every time I make an excuse, and I think that, you know, it's all right and stuff like that, because, like, it's not fucking all right, you know. The more you say it's all right, the more you're going to fucking do it, and the more it will become part of your identity. You're going to train yourself to be a fucking bitch. So you need to train yourself the opposite, all right? You need to train yourself to be a man of your word, man that faces his fears, all right? And it all starts with facing your fears, getting in shape, all right? These two things alone will change your life like nothing else, all right? Most people fuck up one or both of these things. They're fat, out of shape, and they fucking hide. They hide from themselves. They hide from the world, all right? Then if you want to change your life as a young man that's struggling, you know, like I was back then, I always felt lost. I always felt like I was an outcast, like I was socially awkward, like, you know, I wasn't good enough, you know, nobody likes me, like all these things, these negative. You have to face your fears, right? If you think a girl's cute, go talk to her. If you're scared of rejection, go talk to her, right? If you feel like that job is out of your league, apply for it, right? If you fucking are in a job that you hate, and you know that, you know, a better opportunity is out there, fucking quit your job and go do it, dude. All right, if you always wanted to, you know, kind of lose weight, but your friend group is telling you that it's normal to go get fat with them, eat like shit, and hang around and smoking, but in your heart you know that, you know, you probably shouldn't be doing that, then go against the grain. Fuck them. All right, fuck them. Find new friends. Be a fucking solo fucking monk in your room. All right. because like your potential is worth your future family's potential is like their future is hinging on you becoming the best version of yourself. Do you think you can support a family if you're fucking got like crazy bad habits, you're out of shape, unhealthy as fuck, eat like shit, no money, broke, no confidence, scared of everything? Imagine how, like, of course no one's gonna fucking, marry your ass because you never developed yourself, become a person that's worthy, of such a relationship. All right. It's the same way, this is what I didn't understand growing up. Like, like like relationships are kind of transactional. A girl wants a guy that has his shit together, that can take care of her and her kids, and you want a chick that's fucking hot, like you wouldn't date a girl that's fucking, fucking eats like shit and, fucking fat as fuck, probably, so like fucking you have to put in your share of the work. All right, you gotta fucking face your fears, become the best version of yourself. All right, get in fucking amazing shape. There's no excuse in 2026 with fucking all the information online, with fucking opportunities around you. These two things alone would change your life. All right. That's all I got for today, guys. Let me know in the comments below if this video helps or anything, what you want to see next, and I'll see y'all in the next video.